Video games have been filled with secrets almost as long as the industry has existed, and thus so have those that are little more than playground rumour. Fortunately, modern gamers are less likely to fall for urban legends since they can be verified online with ease. But things were very different before the internet was widely available, even though the source of the following was often nothing more than "trust me bro." What might seem like preposterous myths now were widely believed. I'm Sai, this is WhatCulture Gaming, and these are 10 pre-internet video game secrets everyone fell for. Number 10, the ambulance ending, Silent Hill. In principle, it should be easy to debunk a video game hoax. If the rumour in question sounds absurd or vague, it's reasonable to dismiss it. However, Silent Hill's non-existent ambulance ending successfully misled the masses because of how detailed it was. After beating the main campaign on hard mode, certain elements will supposedly change upon the next playthrough. This time around, you need to collect glucose and distilled water at the school to create an explosive. By blowing up the traffic gate, you can find an oil can on the other side, which can be used on the engine at the gas station. After attaching the functioning engine to the ambulance beside the hospital, you will unlock a new ending where you rampage through the town before escaping. This might sound ludicrous now, but considering that Silent Hill has a joke ending involving aliens zapping the protagonist with a ray gun, this climax sounded like the more feasible by comparison. Also, the explanation given to unlock the ambulance ending is so elaborate and descriptive it seemed unlikely that anyone would make it up. Sadly, that's what happened, since there's nothing to substantiate this claim. Number 9, the nudity code, Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. Even though Tomb Raider is the most famous game to inspire a nude code hoax, it wasn't the only one. In 2003, Team Ninja launched a Dead or Alive spin-off called Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. The main selling point was less so the sport gameplay and more just the female fighters jiggling away in skimpy swimsuits, but some players were hoping to see a bit more skin. So when it was suggested that there was a way to make the characters play volleyball topless, many thought that it sounded too good to be true, and unsurprisingly, it was. However, there are two good reasons why this baseless lie gained traction, apart from wishful thinking. Firstly, Extreme Beach Volleyball does contain a naked character in the opening scene, and even though it only lasts a second, the ESRB rating stated that the game depicted women in the buff, perpetuating the naked code rumour. Not only that, a hacker devised a mod that dressed the female ensemble in flesh-based skins, giving credence to the hoax. When photos of these skins were made public, many gamers assumed they were the real deal, oblivious they were from a pirated version of the game. Number 8, the other Bonds, GoldenEye 007. If there was any game that was going to generate a false rumour, it was GoldenEye 007. After all, Rare's revolutionary shooter had dozens of ridiculous cheats. So when there were rumblings that players could select previous James Bond actors in the multiplayer, it seemed pretty on brand. I mean, it's more believable than some of the actual cheats in GoldenEye 007, including Big Head mode or Tiny Bond mode. Also, this fabrication was hard to dismiss since there was actually a kernel of truth to it. In early development, Rare were informed that they can incorporate any character from the James Bond film catalogue. Thus, the director Martin Hollis thought there would be no issue with including former 007s, Sean Connery, Roger Moore and Timothy Dalton in the multiplayer. George Lazenby? Who the heck is that? Worrying about the licensing fees, the creators ultimately went back on this idea, but since the classic Bonds remained in the game's code, the legitimacy surrounding this rumour was compounded. And as part of an April Fool's joke, Electronic Gaming Monthly pretended the classic Bond actors could be unlocked through non-pirated means, and the joke just got way out of hand, with other publications just reprinting it, sending many GoldenEye 007 owners on a wild goose chase. Number 7, the 17th Colossi, Shadow of the Colossus. Like GoldenEye 007, unfounded rumours surrounding Shadow of the Colossus circulated due to the developer's original intentions. Fumito Ueda's sprawling sandbox title follows a warrior called Wanda who's tasked with eliminating giant golems called Colossi. Though Ueda intended the game to feature 48 of them, it was whittled down to 24 due to hardware limitations, and then for one reason or another this number was reduced to 16 in early development, forcing the creators to discard some of their work. For this reason, several Colossi never saw the light of day, including Aberth the Spider, a fire-based beast called Adar Flam, Sarah the Monkey, and Sirius the Boar. But since these bosses' textures are still lurking deep inside the code, and that there were screenshots out there of some of them as well, it was easy to convince players that there was a way to encounter them. As a result, there were theories galore that Wanda could fight a 17th Colossi if he performed some kind of elaborate feat, such as reach the top of the Shrine of Worship or swim to a specific point in the ocean. Even Even though plenty of players wasted hours trying to find the 17th Colossi, it never existed. Number 6, the cow level, Diablo. Diablo is a point-and-click RPG that centers around a warrior who must wage war against the armies of hell. For this reason, the last thing Blizzard thought Diablo players would obsess over were the cows. Not only was the fanbase inexplicably fascinated by the grass-munching critters, there was an ongoing theory you could unlock a top-secret cow level if a specific bovine was clicked on a number of times. So rather than fighting off the forces of darkness, some Diablo players spent hours clicking on farm animals. Cool. This rumour quickly became an in-joke in pop culture, inspiring references in StarCraft, Warcraft and Goat Simulator. But plenty of you watching this might be going, wait a minute, I thought there actually was a cow level, and technically you're correct. While working on the sequel, Blizzard decided to make the cow level a part of Diablo canon. Even though it might seem silly to just come up with pointless video game lies like this, Diablo's cow level proves that some good can actually come from it. Number 5, Find Zack, Final Fantasy VII. Being one of the most celebrated games of all time, Final Fantasy VII has spawned spin-offs, remakes, remasters, prequels and movies. And of course it's also inspired several hoaxes. The rumours about saving Aerith or having Sephiroth join your party are well known, so let's look at something that didn't get as much attention. Throughout the first half, Cloud repeatedly mentions how he worked alongside Sephiroth while he was enlisted with Soldier, and over time Cloud realises that many of his memories around this period actually belong to his friend Zack Fair. Despite playing an integral role in the plot, Zack rarely features throughout the main campaign of Final Fantasy VII. As a result, it was speculated there was a way to find him. Supposedly, the elusive ex-soldier member can be located in Sector 5 of the Midgar slums. On the left of one particular screen, there's a building containing a clone of Sephiroth, and if you try to interact with it, Aerith says that she's too weak to heal him. Technically, she says this guy are sick, which is, yep, sick English. However, it was theorised he wasn't a Sephiroth clone at all, but a heavily weakened Zack. And if Aerith was levelled up enough, it was hypothesised she could use her powers to cure him. Considering that Aerith dies at the end of Disc 1, that makes sense. Get her to level 100, come back. Yeah, I could see it. Unfortunately, it's just simply not true. Number 4, the Green Thwomp, Mario Kart 64. Bowser's Castle, which is featured in every Mario Kart installment, is known for being among the hardest recurring tracks in the series. The version in Mario Kart 64 sticks out in terms of difficulty due to its tight turns, lava pits and driver squashing thwomps. However, there's another reason why this incarnation of Bowser's Castle is remembered. Near the start of the race, a green thwomp, nicknamed by the fans Marty, can be spotted inside a cage embedded into the wall. Although the game makes no specific reference to this blocky henchman, players assumed the imprisoned thwomp bared some significance. After all, why else would he be there in the first place? And why was he green? Spoiler alert, he's not green, he's blue, it's a yellow light. That's how colour mixing works. As such, it was only a matter of time before the rumour mill went nuts, suggesting that Marcy would become a playable racer if he was released from the prison. The most common theory to releasing the thwomp was to drive through Bowser's Castle backwards. Even though this is an impossible task, this falsehood gained momentum when fake videos were uploaded showing players pulling it off. And even though footage like this might be convincing, there's just no truth to it. Number 3, secret characters and finishers, Mortal Kombat 1 and 2. Mortal Kombat earned its place in history not just for its gratuitous violence, but for popularising gaming secrets and hidden characters. Although Reptile was the only secret opponent in the original game, there was speculation surrounding another alleged combatant. How did this theory come to be? Well, the audit menu had a listing called Ermax designed to find code errors. Unaware of what the message meant, players assumed it referred to an unseen fighter called Ermac. But that's not all. When Mortal Kombat 2 was released, it was falsely reported that a female fighter called Scarlet would appear under specific circumstances. And there was also a rumour that every combatant could perform an animal-based finishing move called an animality. And do you want another one? Because there's another one in the pit arena. 2 men can be seen in the distance, referred to as Hornbuckle and Torch by the gaming community. Even though these fighters merely served as background decorations, many believed there were a way to face them in battle. Brilliantly, even though there was no truth to these claims at first, Ermac, Scarlet, Animalities and Blaze, which was Torch, were implemented into later installments. Still waiting on Hornbuckle though. Number 2, finding the Triforce, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. In Ocarina of Time, Link is tasked with restoring balance to the world by acquiring the godlike treasure, the Triforce. In a cruel twist of fate, the Hylian hero never finds it. In fact, he's never in the same room as the triangular MacGuffin. But since the Triforce is at the epicenter of the plot, players were adamant that it could be obtained. And in 1999, a forum user called Ariana Almondo successfully convinced the fanbase that the Triforce was 100% attainable. According to Almondo's, you need to learn a specific melody from the owl, Kabora Gabora. After entering the Temple of Time, you'll be transported to the Temple of Light when you play this song beside the Master Sword. Navigating through the secret temple, Link will finally find Triforce. Na 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 na. This wild claim seemed fishy from the get-go due to Almondo's cryptic clues and grainy photos of her so-called achievements. However, the hype for Ocarina of Time was so monumental and the internet was so young, the fandom just lapped it up. But after forum users pointed out inconsistencies with Almondo's photographs, including the placement of Link's sword on his back, she confessed that she made the whole thing up. And number 1, Shang Long, Street Fighter II. During the early 90s, Street Fighter II reigned supreme in the arcades and across all consoles. However, Capcom's prized title is also renowned for creating one of the greatest hoaxes in gaming, inadvertently. When Ryu defeats his opponent in Street Fighter II The World Warrior, his victory quote reads, "You must defeat Shang Long to stand a chance." The phrase Shang Long is actually a mistranslation of Ryu's Dragon Punch attack, but players assumed he was referring to a hidden fighter. Just to add gas to this fire, Electronic Gaming Monthly released an article and a doctored screenshot on April Fool's Day, here they go again, indicating that Shang Long would serve as the final boss if certain criteria was met. Soon after, publishers across America, Europe and Hong Kong reprinted the Shang Long article, strengthening the hoax. EGM fabricated the same Shang Long story for Street Fighter III, promising it was true this time. It wasn't. Artwork was devised for Shang Long's so-called debut in Street Fighter IV with the word Uso written under his name, which is Japanese for lying. Fortunately, this prank does have a happy ending. Shang Long was the inspiration for Akuma, who served as a secret boss in Super Street Fighter II. Even though Akuma could have made a one-off appearance, he's become a regular in the franchise and one of the most popular characters in gaming. Also, Gouken from Ultra Street Fighter IV was heavily based on Shang Long's supposed appearance and backstory. With the benefit of hindsight, it's fascinating how the persistent rumours surrounding Shang Long led to the creation of 2 iconic Street Fighter characters.